Something that's been bothering me for years is how the trans community treats the ones who regret going through a medical gender transition. Those people are called detransitioners. Most detransitioners today are young people. A lot of them transitioned when they were kids, meaning adults in their lives, doctors, their parents, did this to them. Gave them all the permanent effects of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, if not surgeries. And yes, it is a thing. It does happen sometimes, children getting gender-related surgeries. If you look up detransition or I'm detransitioning on YouTube, you will find a ton of people speaking up, coming out saying, I thought I was trans, but I wasn't. I had other mental health issues instead. And me being on TikTok all the time, or me being exposed to this trans ideology, made me transition, made me think this is me. But it wasn't. These stories are absolutely heartbreaking. You would think people who are part of the trans community would be really sweet, sympathetic, caring, and loving towards the people who detransition. But they're not. I've made multiple videos on my channel about the hate, the bullying detransitioners face. Here's an example of trans activists making fun of the rise in detransitioners.
So I might get canceled for this, but I wanted to make a video about the real side effects of testosterone that none of the doctors will tell you about or any of the trans activists will tell you about here on social media. Side effect number 1 is that you will become so incredibly sexy that you won't know what to do with yourself because you're so damn hot now, and you've never been this hot in your life, so you literally don't know what to do. Stay safe out there.
Actually, there is a long list of side effects women on testosterone experience. Some of them are minor, and most women in menopause can relate to them, but there are also some serious ones. I'll talk more about that in another video. The person in the next video is a biological male, and he's joking because he's very funny, according to himself.
I'm detransitioning. I've been thinking about it for a while and I can't keep doing this. It just isn't for me. I'm no longer a man. I never was. I'm stopping testosterone. I'm a biological woman.
This dude might be joking, but there are a lot of trans women out there who believe they are biological women, and them being born as men was a mistake. That's not how it works. To actually detransition is horrible. Women on testosterone will forever have a deep voice, something that gender dysphoric females who are happy with their transitions don't hate and love. But imagine if you're a woman on testosterone and you regret going on testosterone, you find out, oh wait, I can actually live my life as what I am, a woman. I was wrong and I fixed my other mental health issues, but now I have permanently this deep voice. People don't believe I'm a woman due to my voice. It must be devastating. But don't forget the most depressing part of detransitioning, and that's the risk of becoming infertile. When doing this to children, they're most likely going to be infertile for the rest of their lives, because doctors are messing with these children's bodies when they're not even fully developed. They're not even close. I mean, some children start on puberty blockers when they're like 11, 10 even, I think, and it's disgusting. Let me translate this next TikTok. FTMTF means female the male the female. So a woman who thought she was going to be a man, and then she goes back to living her life as a woman again. TERF organization. TERF means Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, describing female feminists who don't want to include trans women in their feminism, like transphobic feminists. It's often being used wrongfully. The trans women they don't want anything to do with are not effing trans. They're creepy men forcing themselves to be in women's spaces. I have been called a TERF, so it's not really the worst thing in the world to be. Anyways, let's watch.
They destroyed my biologically female child rearing life, and that's why I'm partnering with the Trans People Initiative to stop this from happening to any more of our nation's precious youths.
Your tolerance is showing. Just like the other two, you seem so compassionate, loving, and caring. It is true that a lot of detransitioners, especially the ones who transitioned as children, are against medically transitioning children, so they collab with organizations that want to ban it. What's wrong with that? They know out of all people how harmful it is to do this to children, how it harms their bodies and mental health.
The medicine was so new, and they didn't even give me a real doctor. They put me with the medical students.
This is a strawman argument. Detransitioners are not saying they got treated by med students. However, they do argue that they got treated by incompetent doctors. They're incompetent because they're ideologues. They believe in trans ideology and not science, biology, common sense, and they don't have any morals. Trans doctors believe giving a healthy child, puberty blockers is not a problem and reversible. It's factually wrong, and you don't need to be a doctor to understand that. Any person with more than 2 brain cells would know it's not healthy, and there will be consequences to that. Going through your natal puberty should be a human right, in my opinion, because it's essential. Puberty is essential to go through. You can't convince me it would be healthy, physically, psychologically healthy, to stop a child's development before they go through puberty. An argument I hear a lot from these idiots is, you can pause puberty. Puberty blockers are just a pause button. The importance of going through your natal puberty is not just about the changes. The specific changes like voice drop, breast development, and so on. The timing of when puberty happens is literally key. It means so effing much, you have no idea. Many trans doctors also believe in more than 2 genders, 2 sexes even. They also use woke language, my own trans doctor included. My trans doctor once asked me, "What's your sexuality?" And I said, "Well, I'm attracted to men." Later on in a conversation, she said, "When you have sex with a person with a penis," and I wanted so bad to say, "Excuse me, I have sex with a man, a real man, you know that kind?" Please don't degrade my boyfriend. It's actually degrading when you think about it. He's more than a penis. My personal opinion is, if you're a trans doctor and you believe in all this bullshit, harming children with puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and surgeries, if you believe in more than 2 genders, in woke ideology in general, you should be fired. Because then your knowledge about medicine, completely irrelevant. It shows you're incompetent, that you're not able to do your job as a doctor. You can be a perfect activist, but that's not your job. If you don't make a thorough assessment before giving someone the medical transition, the likelihood of that patient regretting it, not benefiting from it, would be insanely high. And it's unacceptable. And it's exactly why we see so many detransitioners today. The fact that we even have a term for the people who regret their transitions, it shouldn't even be a thing. There's literally a detrans community. That would not be a thing if trans doctors just did their job.
Thank you for calling the Detransitioning Hotline. How may I help you? Hi, yes, I wanted to return my trans card. I'm so sorry to hear you didn't enjoy your experience as a transgender person on this earth. Yeah, I decided my life as a man would probably be a lot easier considering the amount of privileges I've lost.
Right, that's the reason why men detransition. Not due to them figuring out that they don't have gender dysphoria. They deal with other mental health issues, such as borderline, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, the list goes on and on. It has nothing to do with that. They just miss their male privilege. It's not like I don't believe in male privilege. I believe every group of people are privileged in some way. I think you're more privileged as a trans person than as a man nowadays. If you're a trans person living in the West, you have so much privilege. You can even be privileged as a non-trans person pretending to be trans. Because nowadays you don't even have to prove that you're trans. Anyone who says that they're trans are it. A narrative I highly disagree with, and it doesn't make any sense. Again, these trans activists are so insensitive towards detrans people. They don't care about them. Trans activists see detransitioners as traitors, as people who left the cult. And how do cult members treat people who leave the cult? Even in some religions, you can be punished by death if you leave the religion. I'm not saying that's what trans activists do, but they are truly vicious. Often you will hear them say, "It's your own fault." They even say it to the people who transitioned as children. It's sick. Kids are not old enough to have sex or to reproduce. But according to activists, including the doctors, they're old enough to make a decision to transition that will destroy their future sexual function and fertility. Make it make sense, people.
Charlie Kirk believes that TikTok is turning children trans.
This is Chloe Cole. She's a detransitioner.
In my experience, I learned about transgenderism through the internet at roughly about the age of 11 or 12. And I mean, it captivated me. I had body image issues, and it felt like I found the explanation for as to why I felt so different from the women around me. This has left permanent effects on my body. I might not be able to have children. I don't have my breasts anymore. I have complications from the puberty blockers, the testosterone, and the surgery.
That's
3
correct.
years after I've stopped taking all of them.
I'm very suspicious about, okay, but I understand.
Are you calling her a liar?
No, but I am saying that I'm pretty sure a mastectomy, that's not in the trans guidelines of how people should transition.
Oh, it is.
No, it's 100% is. Look at
It's in the WPATH guidelines.
Look at WPATH guidelines that came out last
They've been lowering the age guidelines for years.
Please go follow Chloe Cole, she's amazing. Due to the lack of gatekeeping, people who think that they have gender dysphoria have to diagnose themselves. And when that's the case, some of them have to be wrong. Because they're not doctors themselves. They're not psychiatrists, they don't know how to diagnose themselves. No one should really. When that's the case, some people are going to be wrong about the disorder they actually deal with. The last thing I want to address is why do I as a trans person support the detrans community? Well, why not? What does my transition have anything to do with other people? See, that's the difference between trans activists and the regular transsexuals who have always existed. A real transsexual transitions to alleviate their mental disorder. That has nothing to do with other people. But 99.9% of all trans activists are not effing trans. They do not know what it's like to deal with gender dysphoria. Some of them transition for ideological reasons. And they're all part of the same community, where they all think the same, and also look the same. But it ain't trans. I as a transsexual can support another human being who has been through the same as me. But regret the transition? There's no contradiction here. I care a lot about these people, and I want to add, most trans people are not transphobic, are just regular people who got misled by doctors or TikTok, who are struggling with their mental health. I care a lot about these people because they go through a lot of unnecessary struggles. It's already difficult to live with the side effects of the cross-sex hormones and surgeries, something you can't really change. But it makes no sense that these people are getting bullied on the daily by trans activists. I don't think it's fair. Of course, I would argue it's not fair that these people got access to the transition in the first place. No matter how old they are, they should not have been wrongfully treated by the system. No one should. Mistakes will always happen from time to time, but the rise in detransitioners is really, really concerning. Just because I'm happy with my transition doesn't mean I should not care about the people who are not happy with their transition. My message to the world is, detrans stories matter. Let them speak. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you want to support me in my channel, you can become a member, or I have my PayPal link in the description down below. Remember to follow me on social media. I love you and I cannot wait to see you in the comments. Peace out.